Oh, sorry. Yeah. Forgot my mic is all the way up here now. I'm gonna have to either talk louder or something. I don't know. What's going on, homies? How are you guys doing? Guess we'll go ahead and get started. I need a Alrighty, check this out. Got the world's smallest solo cup. Look at that little fucker. This little guy. Yes. Oh, you know what? I didn't soak my sponge. But yes, Murdoch, you are correct. Sponge is nice and wet. Might need to Whoop, I knew it was gonna happen. I was about to say I might need to re-secure this camera a little bit. I usually use zip ties. But I left them at work. I'm obviously not welcome there for a while, so... using string. Nice enough, it doesn't have to be super pretty. Alrighty homies, let's see what we got. Sorry. I got this little solo cup to hold my screws. I actually think that a lot of the screws are going to be bigger than the solo cup. Anyways, so here's the PS3. I've already taken this piece off. Just because remember last time it took me ages. My dad's was sick, luckily. Damn man, well I'm happy to hear that it's coming back negative. Oh, you know what dude, I totally forgot that shit's playing. Is that better, I hope? My bad, y'all. Okay, so, yeah, first we're just gonna see if this bad boy works. I don't believe it does. I should have probably tested that, but, yeah, this is a, Model A. Let's see if we get the... Do it one more time. Yep. That's the yellow light of death right there, my friends. Yeah, so it goes to yellow for just a brief second. And yeah, it's a pain. Truly a pain. Let's get this guy apart real fast. Maybe this fucker a little bit more destruction. There you go. Last time I did one of these, I didn't put a... Last time I did one of these... Yeah, I unplugged it just now. Why? Can you guys still hear the music? I'm fucking around with it right now. You didn't see me unplug it? Yeah, I did. One sec. No music? Weird. Yeah, that's what I was noticing. I didn't hear any either. Oops. You hear it now? Or is it still too quiet? Alright, bet. Regardless, let's go ahead and get rolling here. And yeah, I mean, I hope that whatever you're sending me is also exactly what you say. Is just a yellow light of death. That's the easiest thing for me to fix, that's for sure. Sorry, checking my phone. Okay. Anyways, let me know if the music's gay, because I can't hear it. If it sucks, you have to holler at your boy, because I can't hear anything. Sending all the dick pics. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Play your own music. Yeah, for sure, man. That's what it is. It's pretty quiet. Trying to talk over my intro music. Dude, I know. Everybody was like, we can't hear you. I was like, oh shit, dude, I forgot that was even on, because I have my speakers turned all the way down, right? Nifty little tool right here. Whoop. Yeah, look. So the screws are almost bigger than the little red solo cup. It's my hand for scale. Did you guys know that they make solo cups this small? Isn't that crazy? Let's see what else we got in this bad boy. We actually don't have to take these apart, but I like to. There's two screws right here. They have arrows pointing to them, right here and right here. And I like to take them apart because they connect the Wi-Fi board to, or not I'm sorry, the card reader board to the Wi-Fi board. And if you take them out now, when you open the lid, it should disconnect on its own, and you don't have to worry about like disconnecting a ribbon cable. Tear down without losing at least one screw? Yeah, that happens, dude. It's just the way it be. There is one small screw. It's smaller than all the others, and it's indicated on the case with an S. I'm not sure what S stands for, but that's where the small screw goes. Screws don't even exist. Oh, I love this song. The fact that I can hear it means it's probably pretty deafening to you guys. I'm sure it got them all. Yeah, so whoever had this before me, looks like they tried to open it themselves because they completely ruined this spot right here. And then, look, there's just a big hole. They cracked the plexi a little there, it looks like. Well, actually, so what I usually use for screws is an ice cube tray. An ice cube tray about this big, and each of the little holes, right? They work really, really well. For holding screws. Why is this still? Did I miss a screw? No, the hole's just in there real good for some reason. Oh, okay, I see. Just didn't pop out. So here's the little data board. How much did I spend on this? 25 bucks. 25 bucks and it's not working money. I mean, it's not working money. And it's not working because the yellow lighted it. I was reading fucking SNES thing. Let's put this back now. Not that it matters because we'll have to disconnect it, but I'd rather this piece be connected. I hate doing these at an angle. Alright, it's pretty dirty in here. Like, I mean, it's not like clumpy dirty, like it doesn't have shit everywhere. Is it better? Anyways, first thing we're gonna do is disconnect this bad boy and this bad boy down here. Again, this is a damn. This thing has no adhesive left. A tar-filled console? I can't say that I have. Can't say that I have. It is dirty. Look at all that. Almost looks like it was kept somewhere where there was a lot of moisture. We're actually just gonna separate it from here. Yeah, let's just press. Pull this bad boy off. There is a ribbon cable underneath here that has to be disconnected way back there. Just lift the little tab. Pops right out. These are Blu-ray drives. Usually you can. There might be something in there. We might have got another free game, guys. We might have got another free game. Remember what game was in the last PS3 that we restored? I can't remember even what it was. Oh, the NBA. The NBA, that's right. It was a stupid fucking NBA game. Disconnect this ribbon cable here. So this right here is your Bluetooth antenna. So if you ever have issues connecting your controllers, or like you taking it apart and you put it back together and your controllers won't connect, that's what you're looking for. Those things are pretty cheap. And they're generic too. So as long as it has one of these connectors, these little tiny circular ones, you can like, it doesn't have to be Sony brand or whatever. I bought an off-brand one for the PS3 that I use for speedruns and stuff. Screwdriver's too small. The one that I use for speedruns and stuff is a Model E, and I don't know. It's somewhere. It's the one that Nightness left in my possession, and I never gave it back. But that one, the antenna eventually went bad, and I had to replace it. And I was able to use a generic one, as opposed to, you know, I didn't have to order it from a Sony website or anything. PS1 with the lid problem. I'm not sure I know what you mean. We have the PS1 with a lid problem. The only PS1 I have we restored. It didn't have any video. It was a PS1 Slim, one of those little baby ones. Oh, do you mean the PS2? The PS2 with the lid problem. Yeah, no, that's Beyond the Beyond. That's my Beyond the Beyond PlayStation. Yeah, you're totally right. I still need to do that. I just need to switch it with the English 90K's shell, and I'll be good to go. But yeah, you're totally right. I forgot about that. And I always bitch, because in the middle of a Beyond the Beyond run, I'm over here all tilted because I'm like, wow, it takes me like 2 minutes to reset my console. And I'm like, well, the 30 minutes it would take for me to solve that issue, I'm just too lazy. It's just Beyond the Beyond. How serious am I going to take it? Now look at me. What's the issue with Beyond the Beyond? It's kind of a shit game, bro. I mean, you know, I'm no stranger to shit games, but this Beyond the Beyond's a little extra shitty. Cool. Want to make sure that that's dislocated. So now what we're going to do is just take off all these little screws. They're all the same size, except for the one that you take off back here that grounds out the Bluetooth, and the ground back here. They're both a bit stouter, and obviously the one that grounds the power supply is has washers on it. Oh, here's a fun little fact, right? So I don't know if you guys remember, on the original PS3 that we took apart and restored, it had the first generation power supply, where it had it was like squares instead of circles, and it was only a few of them, like right here and right here. Well, if you have this generation power supply, you can actually take out this right here, the card reader. So if you never use SD cards or whatever, I don't even know what they're for the PS3. I guess like photos or something, I don't know. Anyways, if you don't use it, you can actually just take that piece out and expose all, there's some dust in that bitch. Expose all of this for heat related issues. It, you know, just less opportunity for heat, less to get in there if all this is exposed and open. The power supplies don't usually overheat, but you know, these consoles are known for getting pretty hot. It's just usually not up here at the top. How'd the rest of the run go earlier? Oh, dude, it was actually, so we ended up going, we were like -5 at one point, back in the green. I think I ended up getting to -10 after the grind section. And we ended up finishing the game like -5. Or I'm sorry, +5. +5. We didn't PB. We were in the red by like 10 minutes because the grind section brutalized us. But we ended up making up like 5 minutes. And we made up like 6 minutes earlier in the run, so my sum of best is now like 4 or 5 minutes faster than the world record. Yeah, I was super disappointed that that the encounters for the EXP grind went so badly. I got like nothing but like double wizard fights, which are worth like 800 EXP, and they take like twice as long as any other fight. So they're the longest and the least rewarding, so yeah, it takes forever. How do you get the ribbon cable to actually make contact in the Model A DS2 when you push it back together? In a DualShock? What ribbon cable are you referring to? DS2. Or unless that's like an actual DS. Is that like a, you mean like a Sorry, when I hear DS2, I immediately think DualShock. Let me take a look. I've taken apart a lot of Model 2 DS2s. Dude, I vape always. I feel fine. I feel fine. I've had some free days off of work, which has been amazing. You're talking about, what ribbon are you talking about? Are you talking about, you're talking about the one that's held by the tabs. I know what you're talking about now. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. With the little contact pads on them. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Exactly what you mean. Yeah, as long as, so if, it usually stays pretty well, in my experience. The first thing would obviously be like those two posts that hold it. Check if there's a tear in the ribbon by the post. Sometimes though those posts break off, and if it's not, like the post should be like, you know, a little bit further. Like you should have like that much extra post coming out, and if you don't, it's possible that it like broke off or something. Yeah, that's not super uncommon. Those DualShock 2s, that style. Did I forget a screw? I sure did. You know, I totally forgot all about that. That is a way that it works. And you know what? I can't help you a whole lot just because I've really never had issues putting them back together. I also don't ever move that ribbon, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Here's your clunky power supply. Goes on these two little prongs. Yeah, to be fair, man, I've been doing myself a disservice with the runs I've been doing. Beyond the Beyond is like, it's not a kind run to grind down. I wonder why this thing has like huge chunks in between songs. I'm trying to use free use music. Oh, here we go.
All those moments will be lost in time. Like tears.
I'll get Silverstein. Yeah, and you know what, dude? I looked at the... Oh, first of all, hey, so you guys know about the mixer stuff that happened today, right? The mixer stuff? Well, I found out that the mixer stuff was related to racism. I didn't know all that. Apparently they had been dealing with some negative publicity due to racism for the past couple days. I didn't know that. I just saw that they closed and was like, maybe they decided to cut their losses. I mean, hate to say it, kind of saw it coming. Here's your little power board right here. This is your power button. Oh, the glare makes it kind of bad. Maybe I should turn the camera light off. Turn my house light on. Right there. The little tab is what turns it on, and that tab is eject. Let me go see if I can get some more light in this bitch. Ooh, the hospital light. I might end up creating glare. Let me know if it's like unbearable. Whatever, fuck it. I can see better now though, so that's nice. We're gonna have to take this off. Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it now. So you can either disconnect it from here or up here. I prefer to disconnect it from the board, right? And the reason that I do that is because I'm not a very smart guy or very well organized. So it's very handy. Damn, this thing is dirty. Look at, I don't know if you guys can see that. It's not the glare. There's like a layer of dust. I don't know if you can see. But yeah, I prefer to disconnect it from the board. That way I'm not having to lift this up over a bunch of cables that are still connected. And it also keeps the wires connected to the spots that they go, which is really nice. Because, well, for obvious reasons, it's really nice because I'm very prone to losing shit, and creating less opportunity for things to get lost is usually best case scenario. RPG, yeah, so you know, anything that's on, there's actually a bunch of companies that came out. What is it? Is it Proximity? Is that a record company? Or a music management company or what have you? They have like a little lightning bolt as the emblem. And here I like to keep the parts kind of together so I can remember. I mean, it obviously looks like the exact same size, but if it's your first time taking some shit apart, there's a lot of things in here that can get lost. Or you can be like, where did that go? Let me tell you, if it was Proximity or who, they came out and they said anything that we put on our channel, 100% royalty free. Yep, Proximity. Here it is right here. Oh, I just closed fucking chat on accident. It's whatever, I don't need you guys. You see, I'm super big into retrowave and synthwave. I got it open now. I'm big into synthwave and retrowave and stuff. If you go on to New Retrowave, who is pretty much like the retrowave YouTube channel, they have a playlist that's royalty free, and that's what I've been using. And to be honest, I don't think that the people like us, the smaller streamers, my ass isn't even partnered, but we're grinding for it. You know, I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. I actually submitted a couple days ago because I was like, well, maybe I can cheese my numbers. But now that I'm getting like close and doing well, I'm like, oh shit, I should have waited. So now that's why I did an extra stream late at night. I was like, fuck it, dude. I don't have a whole lot of opportunity. I gotta get my numbers up before they check. But I'm pretty sure that they have to like file. Oh, again, you're gonna have two smaller screws. One is gonna be right here, and one is gonna be right here, and they're actually gonna be indicated by this little arrow right there. Can you see that? So yeah, it's important to remember that. I mean, you can keep all your screws in one place, but yeah, if I can recommend anything, it's to get an ice cube tray and keep all your screws in an ice cube tray. It makes it very easy to distinguish like what goes where. Now, I've done these PS3 so many times that I know where all the screws go, so I'm not super worried about it. I just put them into this little baby solo cup. Again, look how tiny this thing is, bro. Okay, that's probably good. We'll go ahead and take the heatsink tabs off now. Yeah, I know, right? What are you gonna do with that? My girlfriend was like, they're for shots. And I was like, well, you know that the bottom line of a solo, do you know that? That the bottom line of a solo cup is indicative of shots. So this is shot, this is wine, this is beer, or something like that. Or mixed drinks and beer. Like, that's what the lines mean. So, like, that's what a large solo cup is already measured for shots. I don't know if that's, like, part of the branding on purpose, or if that's just something all the drunk kids in high school told each other, but either way. So one thing you can do if you're, like, super paranoid about your heatsink, about heat issues, thermal paste, what we're gonna fix today, which are gonna be some capacitors. Hey man, those are just suggestions. You fill it up as much as you want. So one thing you can do here is you can actually, right in the middle of this, is put like a metal washer. Or you can put metal washers here under this, just to create a little bit more pressure so that this thing pushes down harder. Because what this does is it literally just applies pressure on this side. So it would push this piece down, which creates better, you know, it just creates a lot more pressure and pushes the metals against each other so that the heat dissipates a little bit better. Sorry, I was struggling on, I'm trying to read chat and I forget what I'm saying, and it's like, it's a whole ordeal. What are we snagged on? So back here, you gotta be careful because I break them a lot. What did I do with my little flatty? Oh, here it is. So way back here, damn, I don't have a whole lot of light there. You got these little black tabs. And if you're not careful when you're lifting this thing up, there's one over here as well. You'll just pop it right out. That's why I just try to kind of like slide it. If you have to help it, so be it. But they're actually attached to the, I should take this off first. Yeah. Take this element out. I was just about to say, they're attached to the power supply right here. Or the, I'm sorry. Hey, look! Oh, shit, guys. I fucked up. Just kidding, no I didn't. Everybody pretend they didn't see anything. I was like, why am I meeting so much resistance, man? Well, that would be because the hard drive is still in there. I thought it was, I didn't know that there was a hard drive in here. Usually when I buy them off people, they take them out. 60 gigabyte, this is the OG. Yeah, usually people are real creepy about their hard drives. I don't want to bend this metal. So I can get some separation here. I bought like, shit, I don't even know how many. There we go. I don't know how many I've purchased off people at this point, but quite a bit. And boy, let me tell you, those hard drives are usually almost always gone. People take them. It use SATA, S-A-T-A, yep.
Let me welcome you to my world.
My man Vanny Van, thank you so much for the raid, my guy. Hopefully you're doing well today. Oh, you know, man, just chilling, just having a good time. It hasn't really started yet because I'm being slow, but we're working on it. We're working on it. So there's a couple things we can do now. It just kind of depends on what you prefer in as far as like what piece you want to take off first. Now because we need this actual board, we're going to take this whole element out. The best way to do that is to, I'm going to do it on my lap, sorry. Is to literally just flip it upside down on your lap. And it should come off in one. Damn, this hose is pretty dusty. It's not the worst I've ever seen, that's for sure. Not even close. You see some dust here. Oops. Yeah, I should have done that first. This is the relay. It's very easy. This piece, if you ever want to change your relay because it's gone bad, just pops right out, you see? Just pull it right out like this, slide it back in. Very simple to change out. What's wrong with this one? This is a yellow light of death. And the yellow light of death is these NEC token capacitors. They go bad. And when they do, you just have to replace them with tantalums, which is what we're gonna do. Let's see if I can get this off from here. Alrighty. So we're gonna take all the good shit off. We gotta see the board right underneath the GPU and shit. Yeah, 90% of the time, yellow light of death is these capacitors, and generally about 10% of the time it's just bad conductivity. So usually like thermal paste and stuff like that will solve the issue. We got a couple little baby screws here. There it is. Sorry, my hand's kind of obstructing the... Yeah, I'm unscrewing screws, so... Yeah, I didn't actually have a PS3 either. I actually stole this one. When I started speedrunning, I stole this PS3 from my buddy Nightness because I wanted to learn how to speedrun Sly Cooper. I had not even started speedrunning. It was long before I ever started streaming. And I saw online that it was the fastest way was on this PS3, so I was like, dope. Hey, so I hit him up. He lived right down the street from me, and I was like, yo, let me get your PlayStation from you don't mind? And he was like, alright, whatever. I practiced the run for a little bit. I sucked real bad at it, and then I kind of gave up. But I never gave his PlayStation back. Well, we actually moved in together, and we lived with each other for the past, what, 4 years? Me and Nightness lived together. So he's my roommate for a long time. I just moved out when me and my girlfriend, the thing's look at that. That's corrosion. That means, yeah, see the fact that that's not coming off. It's all rust. Means this was probably kept in somewhere pretty humid. Yeah, wow. But yeah, I never gave it back to him. So, okay, so fun fact, and I don't know if it's gonna happen here. Oh, I need to go get my other toolkit, the one I use for my vape. Give me 1 second. My man Vanny, what were you working on, my guy? Sorry, I'm sorry, it's so rude of me, I didn't even ask. What were you working on today, dude? I feel like you have quite a library of runs at this point. So right here, one thing, and I want to show it to you guys because it happens a lot. So when you're unplugging this battery, and these batteries are usually for the internal clock, sometimes when you're unplugging this battery here, it'll pull the whole Molex connection off with it. Let's see if it happens. So we just, you just want to wiggle it. Be kind of careful. You obviously don't want to separate it. Oh, it did. See that? This happens a lot. So it pulls the whole connector off, right? You can see the little pins deep down in there. Let me get it to focus. So there's your pins, right? So when you're putting it back, you want to have it so that these little grooves right here are tucked into the top 2 pins, and the actual holes go, the pins on the bottom go into it. It's not that it matters a whole lot, I just figured it's one of the things that happens like 90% of the time. It happens more often than not. Generally because these things are, obviously pretty old, so the Molexes can sometimes just become a little weak. Now, generally the way, here, I'll show you how I do it. When I want to separate these two after taking apart, you can actually pull this whole heatsink element off. But I'm not going to because it's staying connected. I'd like to keep it that way. So what I do is I push on these. So here's your USB ports. One little fun piece of trivia. If you own a PS3 with 4 USBs, it's backwards compatible. Doesn't mean it's a Model A, it just means it's backwards compatible. It might be a Model C, D, E, whatever. But if it has 2, it's not. Damn, look at all the filth in there. Cute. Anyway, so I will push up on it like that with my thumb on these USB ports. It usually just coaxes it up nicely. Looks like some thermal paste. Looks new. Looks new. Yeah, that's still wet. I mean, it's kind of wet. It's not exactly new, but that's surprising. So you know what that tells me? The fact that it's dusty in some places and corroded in others. What that tells me is that this person probably had the yellow light of death, went online, and saw that it's a heat sink, a heat issue, whatever. Put thermal paste on it, and then they went and tried to paste it. It didn't work, and they were like, "Ah, fuck it," and they put it on eBay for 25 bucks. That's what that tells me. You can get thermal paste off a number of ways. I'm just gonna use a microfiber and some isopropyl alcohol, but we'll actually deal with that later. I am gonna clean these off. Well, I guess I really don't need to. I don't really need to. And I will. I don't want it to get on my desk. Not because I care, I just don't want my desk to get dirty. We'll go ahead and get some of that off. First I'll try it with just the microfiber. I mean, that's not super wet. But if, it's definitely not stock. Because they use a white, very cheap thermal paste. And you'll notice it crumbles like as soon as you touch it. It's very, very cheap. So it's definitely not factory thermal paste. Plug your stream to the eBay seller. Dude, I don't even know who I bought it from. Dude, I buy so much shit off eBay. Whether it be Kwame's or whatever. I'm still waiting on the Turbo Duo that I ordered. That's enough for now, just to keep my desk clean. $300 Turbo Duo. Didn't we just hear the song? I love this song. That's how I remembered. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking. So the guy was like, or maybe his buddy was like, dude, I can fix it for you. It wasn't put in an oven, though. I can definitely tell. That's a lot of people think that you should put it in the oven. It's a real thing. It's a real thing people do, believe it or not. It does not look like it's been ovened, which is nice. This is refreshing. Because if it had been put in the oven, it wouldn't have these factory pads right here. These would crumble up and peel. See how this still has adhesive on there? This adhesive would be all cooked up. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, here's our problem right here. This is what we're going to be dealing with. These two, we're gonna start with these two capacitors, then we'll test it. I mean, you could technically do these two, flip it over, and do these two. Yeah, eight total. You could do all 8 if you want. It takes 3 tantalum capacitors to replace 1. So you could put, you could do them all if you want. There you go. Generally, not necessary. They try and reflow the solder. Yeah, it was done. The flow on the GPU and the CPU were both done with like the ball method. So yeah, it's I understand why it works. You just be surprised, like you just don't tell Call of Duty addicted 15-year-olds, go put your PS3 in the oven, because even if it helps, you just put your fucking PS3 in the oven, you know? Like, I understand the use. It's just a super inconvenience when my ass is trying to fix it. See if I can get this to focus at all. So these are the NEC token capacitors. These guys suck. One thing that's worth mentioning is that all these vias that you see, these tiny little, they look like little holes right above them. Let's see if I can. So, all of these vias right here. Oh, look at that. It's all filled with dust and shit. These vias, these, and these, they all connect to the rails that you're seeing underneath here. See those little silver rails? So this will be positive, negative, negative, positive. Or, I have it backwards. It goes, yeah, so positive, negative, negative, positive. I had it right. I had to think about it and like where the alignment is. Anyways, there's two ways that you can get these off, right? The first method that people suggest is to take something sharp and just fucking pry it off, right? We're not gonna do that. We're gonna use this hot air station. Now it might cause my lights to flicker, so I apologize. It's plugged into my wall. Oh, yep. Can you see the flickering? It really do be like that. Pull this bad boy back a little bit. And because these boards were made so bulky, they're very, very hard. Yeah, warning, if these flashing lights bother you, that's my bad. But because, because these boards were so big, they dissipate heat super, super well. Which is ironic, considering that most of their issues are heat related. But as a result, it's a super pain in the ass to get these off. Like, I might have to heat these for like 2 or 3 minutes. Last time I had the issue, it was taking forever. I was using the small tip on my hot air station. Today I'm using the much bigger tip. You can actually feel when it's getting warm, based on, you can feel it down here on the underside of the board and such. Now if you have a board preheater, obviously it's very nice. I don't have one. But over time you can just kind of mess with it, see if it's coming up at all. Get something flat, small, see if you can pry it at all. You'll eventually start to see the actual solder underneath where the rails are, you know, start to bubble and turn back to liquid. Get under here. If you want, you can actually peel off. Let's see if I can do it while I'm heating it. You can actually peel off like this top layer of these capacitors. It's like a layer of plastic. You can see I can dig into it here. You can do that if you like, just to make it a little easier to heat up. We're not going to worry about it. We're just going to wait. How's everybody doing? Having a good time? But yeah, it's funny that there was, oh, there you go. It's starting to come up a little bit. Funny that there was new thermal paste. Yeah, generally when you heat these, the plastic is going to melt first, and that's what's going to peel off first. Yeah, see, there you go. Super annoying. Sometimes these things come apart, or they come off in parts, and it's very, very annoying to deal with. I don't have like a braid wick. I should have got one. I should have brought my braid wick home from work, and I should have brought my fiberglass pen home. But it's okay. We'll make do with what we got. Damn! Supper slash, that sounds crazy. That sounds awful. Couldn't hear what was playing. I like Radar, the artist that's playing right now. See if we got any movement. Oh, looks like we got a little bit. Like I said, man, these things dissipate heat super, super well. So it's sometimes very difficult to get these caps off. These boards are, they're sturdy. And I don't really have anything that's holding my board in place. Let's see if I can kind of... do something underneath here. No, not warm enough yet. There was a water game that I used to have at Chuck E. Cheese. I want to say it was a Barbie related water game. I'm talking the capacitors on this, dude, bigger than soda cans, right? And they were terrifying. We would have to like break off the end of a broom to like discharge them when they would build up. They're scary. I have to crank up the heat. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, components as a whole always blows my mind when manufacturing cheaps out on components. Because you're looking at like the difference of, you know, maybe 6 to 8 cents a board for like better caps. But, you know, back then maybe these were something fierce. I don't know. You know, the PS3 was obviously not an amazingly well-launched system to begin with. It went through how many revisions super quickly, purely out of the fact that people, I see it's splintering now, that they were like, well, we're gonna make it reverse compatible, and they're like, well, it turns out with all that extra it's overheating, so we'll just remove it. We'll make a slim version. And then eventually they're like, we'll make a super slim. I'm like, damn, dude, how many revisions do you need? And there's like a ton of different revisions of each model. So like this is the Model A. I mean, they went all the way to, I think, G in the fats, maybe even further. So it is trying to come up now. I just want to make sure that I don't peel up the actual pad, which is very easy to do on these things. Because nothing's like holding my board in place, this is kind of annoying. If it makes a huge mess, like whatever. You can always clean it off. Still wants to come off in large plastic pieces. Cool. Now with all that off, we'll give it a little bit more heat. Yeah, and it's a shame because the PS3 really didn't do crazy well, but I love the PS3, man. I love it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, they're miserable. They're miserable to replace. So I only do as few as I can. And usually these two, the ones right below the GPU, they're usually the issue. They're usually the issue. We did the last Yellow Light of Death we did on stream. We did both of these and it was good to go. And it's actually right behind me over here on the, you can't see it now, but trust me, it's there. See if I can maybe get some scrape action going here. Second one usually comes off easier because the board is, you know, nice and warmed up. This hot air station is amazing for SMD capacitors. It's only like a $45 hot air station. It's not amazing for stuff like this though, that's for sure. I bet we still end up having issues with these pads. See where we're at. I can feel the board heat. I can feel the heat from all the way over here. Oh, there we go. Got a little bit of clearance. I don't want to turn my hot air station off because it's definitely not done. And it's because I don't have any solder braid to like clean these pads off. I'm gonna have to use the hot air station a little bit more than I'd like to. Ouch! Dumbass. Yeah, look at that. My ass touched the hot air station on my elbow there. I would I'm still considering moving like my work desk into the garage. That way my streaming station and my work like console stuff can be in two separate places. I can have a place to do both of them for that way I don't have to constantly move my mic stand and move my my camera and all that kind of stuff. It's super hard to get these off. Give me a second. Oops. Did I pull the pad up? No, I didn't. So this right here, this black line in the middle, that's still part of the capacitor. There we go. You can usually shove the sharp end of like these little stylet tweezers. Let's pop that shit right out. Still a lot of bullshit going on. But now that we've cleaned the gunk out, we can probably get a, sorry, it's going to be a little off camera. We're just gonna touch up these pads here a little bit with some heat, hopefully clear off some more of the mess that's on there. So as you can see, there's still a bunch of residue. I guess you can't really see. Let me see. See all that. Is resoldering things on the PS3 as awkward as the PS2? Yeah. Yeah, I would say it's not super bad. But Sony as a whole are like notoriously difficult or more complex systems to mod and stuff like that. You want to do like a PS2 Slim mod on a PS2 Slim, obviously, is way more complex than a N64 HDMI mod or an N64 RGB mod. You know, there's just a whole lot more going on. And they're usually, like you said, tons of tiny contact points. Even these vias are kind of tiny. And they usually, Sony uses a bunch of shit parts. So like, this goes bad. There's the RAM chip that's on the other side goes bad. Yep, putting a mod bow on a PS2, super big pain in the ass. It's very, it's actually not so bad now. Voltar's created a decent little board. The Psyox, I think he calls it. It kind of makes a lot of that stuff. That cleans it up a little bit. It's like a relay board. And I haven't done anything with one of those yet. Because the only PS2s I did were my own. For funsies. Come on now. This is like 90% of the work. Soldering shit on, that's the easy part. Look at it just crumbling. If I heat up my, damn it. I was about to say, if I heat up my tweezers long enough, they'll start to hurt. Are you going to do purlers next? I don't even know what that means. What is a purler? Hey, Blue Harvey, what's up, man? Oh, plastic bead art. Yeah, I've seen those. Those are actually pretty neat. I kind of fuck with those. I'm not creative at all. Even like, you know, people ask me to make marathon overlays and shit for them all the time. And I'm like, dude, you guys gotta realize, I'm not a super creative person. I just follow instructions. So if there's like a, if there's a guide on how to do it on YouTube, then yeah, I can probably do it. But if you're asking me to be unique and creative of my own free will, that fucking fat chance. Oops. I'm gonna hold this here while I take a hit of my vape. There was a couple Super Nintendos that I have that I got fixed. And I want to try retro brighting them. Now, obviously, retro brighting is not like a super stream-friendly thing, so it takes like a lot of time. Yeah, retro brighting is where you use hydrogen peroxide and UV lights to get rid of the yellowing on consoles. This shit is not wanting to peel up. Which usually means it's not hot enough yet, but I don't feel like waiting forever. If we tear some of the pads up, so be it. And I'll tell you why here in a minute. Because I don't actually use really the pads when I do this. You can actually just carve up these vias, which is what I prefer to do. Because the tantalum capacitors won't necessarily fit on there super well. You'll see that here in a little bit. And this board is super warm. Have you fixed the DS Lite top screen? I have not. Yeah, I'm just a hobbyist. I'm definitely not a pro or anything like that. I just pretty much do it for friends and myself. So if you guys want to see some real experts, you know, there's like iFix Retro, Dragon's Horde Gaming, Voltar, obviously. They're gods. This shit is not wanting to budge. Crank the heat all the way up too, man. I really just want to fix my DS. Dude, DS's these days can't be that expensive. I'll tell you what I'm excited for. I ordered a LCD mod for my Game Boy Color. So, my girlfriend still has her childhood Game Boy Color, and there is a new LCD screen for it that's 2 pixels to 1, and backlit. Completely has its own backlight and everything. So it's beautiful, very, very pretty. Obviously really well lit up because and I know you guys remember the Game Boy Colors. You couldn't really see them very well. You needed to get that really shitty light. Yeah, it's hot. Well, it comes with its own mod to replace rechargeable batteries. So yeah, you can actually you replace the battery pack with a rechargeable lithium ion. Damn. Can't really apply much more heat than I am. Maybe we'll flip this bad boy around real fast. I want to crush this little chip over here. I definitely don't want to pull up pads. Generally, if you can separate the plastic in between the 2 rails, there we go. It'll come up a little bit easier without without as much risk of pulling the pads off. Yeah, this thing is being a pain in the ass. This one is worse than the last one, I think. The last one was a huge pain in the ass. Sometimes you just peel it like a lid to a can. What's cool though is that you don't actually have to use the rails. I'm actually not going to. So I don't really care if the rails are super cleaned up. I just need all the shit out of the way. There we go. Still a bunch of bullshit right here, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna go ahead and peel it off and continue. Oh, it looks like that piece of the rail did come up a little bit. It's okay. No worries. So what I'm gonna do, because these capacitors are, oops, still a little bit of that bullshit in the middle there. Not the cleanest thing on earth, for sure. As you can see, still a whole lot of bullshit. I'll take a little bit of isopropyl and a toothbrush. Yo, my man, Sly, thank you so much for dispensing the foreplay, dude. 15 months, I appreciate that. We can take some of this, and we'll clean what we can off of here. It won't be a whole lot, because, you know, most of it's not flux, most of it's just bad solder and stuff that's still on there. But I just want most of that shit out of the way, especially where it looks like these vias are a little tore up in the middle, or dusty or what have you. Go ahead and turn the hot air station off for now. Let's bust out the capacitors. Let me let that dry. 1 second. If the music's weird, let me know, because I'm not even listening to it. I can't hear it, so. Okay, so this is what we're gonna look like. Here are our little capacitors, right? They look like this. Now on one side they're gonna have a band. It's kind of hard to see. I guess I should take them out. But we're gonna use 3 on each one of those spots. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. All right, perfect. Tape it back up so it'll fit back in its baggie. Alright, so what's cool about these capacitors, first of all, I'll show them to you. So these are little tantalum capacitors. I want to say, let's see if I can get that on there. So you're going to see this, this black band up here at the top, where it's darker at least, as you can see right there. So that is going to be, that's your positive side, right? Now some capacitors like electrolytic caps and stuff like that, they're going to be banded on the negative side, but these are positive. Now down here, our positive is up here, right here, and all of these vias are positive. This right here, this rail is negative. This rail is negative, and all of this right here is negative. This is positive, and all of this is positive. Now because there's still like a bit of shit right here, it's gonna not let the cap sit 100% flush, but we'll work around that. I'm just being lazy. I'm tired of heating this bitch up. But what I'm gonna do is, instead of, so there's 2 ways you can do it really. The first way is to have the positive and the negative, excuse me, touch both poles like that, right? So you would have to do 2 on one side and 1 on the other. So you would have to have it touch one pole and another, kind of like that. It will look like that. But the issue is, you look at these on the underside, you see how much, you see how long these leads are, right? So a good way to check whether or not you're shorting is to simply put one on the back of one that's there, and then have a better idea for, is that going to touch that one and the bottom one? Because if it's going to touch both, you're obviously going to short out. So the way I choose to do it, and it's way easier when I usually have my fiberglass pen, but I haven't had it the past 2 times. My man Chrono, dude, thank you so much for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. In both streams, we did 2 streams today, and you were there for both, man. Thank you so much. Tell your girl what's up. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your night. But what you can do is you can actually take like a box cutter or something. A fiberglass pen is obviously the best bet. It's what it's made for. And you can actually just come over here to these vias and you can scratch them up a little bit until you can see the copper underneath become exposed. Then you can just simply put one of the caps on a negative pole and then touching whatever up here. And that will allow me to do a couple things actually. First, it'll mean that I don't have to put any tape over this to protect it from shorting when I put the lid back on. And it allows me to not have to worry so much about a short from this side and this side on the same pole. So that's the way I prefer to do it. You can do it either way. Neither way is, you know, is wrong. Neither one's gonna ruin anything. Let me heat up my soldering iron real quick. Use a little bit of no clean liquid flux. This pen is really trash, but it was cheap and I bought it, so here I am. I prefer to use like a putty style flux, but liquid flux sometimes goes hard as well. Lead-based solder. Here's the flux I prefer to use. One of these bad boys. Oops. It's gunky. I don't know why. I like it a lot better, but it is what it is. Break out the lead. Make sure you give it a little taste. Eat a little bit while you're at it. I'm just gonna try to clean up these pads a little bit. They're still dirty as heck because I don't have a braid. But we're actually just going to use these cleaner pads anyways. These ones on the interior. So those are the ones that we're most worried about getting like a decent little layer. Cool. Looks good for now. So yeah, the first thing I'm gonna do is kind of figure out. Yeah, dude, I have some. It's just at my work, and I have to like carry all my tools that Like any of the tools that I use for this kind of stuff, I have to like put in a cardboard box and like bring home with me every night. And I always, you know, when you have that kind of system, you always forget things, dude. What did I forget last time? Oh, I forgot at work. I actually forgot zip ties. So I was like, great, dude, they're at my house. And then when I got home, I put all my zip ties in a box, put them in my car, took them to work. Well, now I didn't have any fucking zip ties. So that looks pretty shit. But it is what it is. You know, what are you gonna do? So what we're gonna do is kind of eyeball where we would have it. Right about there is fine. We're gonna do 2 on one side and 1 on the other. Probably around this range. Somewhere like that. They don't have to be pretty, they just gotta be on there, right? So now that I have an idea for that, I know what I want to scratch up with my little blade here. I'm gonna pull this camera back just a tad while I do this. Hey Panda, have a great rest of your night. Yeah, it is pretty late. Alright, so just lightly kind of scratch at this right here until you see. Yeah, I can do a better job of it. So you can't really see because my hand's in the way, but I'm scratching up right here until I get a decent amount of copper exposed. And I do this for a couple of reasons. The first is that it obviously see that copper's nice and see that copper spot. And you don't want to damage the vias, and obviously it makes the most sense to do it in places where the vias are a little less all over the place. Now, if you have a fiberglass pen, this job is significantly easier. There you go. And then I'll choose one down here. Preferably on this side with less vias, but we'll do the top first and then we'll scratch. Just so that I have an idea for where I want to be. So now what we're gonna do, apply some more, clean flux, dab it on there, get it nice and moist. Take our soldering iron, which is tangled as fuck. Maybe apply just a little bit of solder to the copper areas here, just so that there's a little something on the board that we can work with. Then we're going to try to put the first bad boy on. Now again, remember, we got to have it touching the center pole, as well as this solder here on the top. So what we're going to do first is worry about this bottom side. Once it's got a little bit of solder right there and it's kind of staying on its own, maybe add a little bit more. Oops. And part of me, I love SMD caps because you know exactly when they're stuck. Even though SMD caps are like, you know, notoriously shitty. That bad boy's on there, good. Alright, now remember, before you lay down the top layer, it's important to flip these bad boys over. Put one right on top there so that I can eyeball whether or not I think it's touching this top pole. Whether or not I think it's shorting out. I don't think it's shorting out. It's not. But that's a really, really nice, easy way to check. Flip one cap upside down on top of another. Super simplistic way. Now we're just going to come at it from the top over here. Oh, it's going to be hard to see. Just get that little bit of solder that we laid down earlier on underneath there. Nice and warm. If you feel like you need to add some, by all means. And then you give it the old tug test, where you just kind of wiggle it back and forth. Does it move? Does it come off? If it comes off, it's not gonna work. I mean, it's about all I can tell you. So now we'll try the next one. Sorry, my camera is not super well secured. Yeah, if it comes off, just do it again. Duct tape, I wouldn't recommend duct tape. But you get the point. Cool. Give it a nice little bed there. In preparation. Again, I like to do the bottom first, but I mean, you do whatever way you like. There's no, as long as both sides are eventually connected, that's all that really matters. And if you're just a hobbyist like myself, don't stress out about like the pretty aspect of it. An ugly console that does shit is way cooler than a pretty console that doesn't. And once it's all back together, nobody can tell, right? I mean, you'll know. You'll have to live with your own shame, but it is what it is. That's nothing new. Nice heat under there. Not getting a whole lot of heat. Maybe add some. Oh yeah. Oh dude, I can't tell you how many times I've burnt myself or made a situation worse or something to that effect. And then I put the console back together and it works and I'm like, you know what, man? There's pride in taking something broken and making it not broken. We're gonna give it the little short test like I mentioned earlier. Do I think it's shortened? No. Oh, that one's close. Might be wise to slide it back, but one thing, because I didn't clean these pads off and there's still this layer of gunk from the previous cap, it's actually preventing this capacitor here from even touching that bottom pole. So what I'm having to do is put extra solder on each side to kind of lift it, which is why you can see it's kind of raised up. That's fine, as long as the console closes. Again, I'm not a pretty person. I'm not a professional, so. Yep, hey, working is working, you know? Especially when you can close this all up and conceal it. I normally do not. I normally stream speedruns. JRPGs, speedruns. That's what I usually do. Console repairs is just something I've kind of gotten into hobby-wise because, you know, it's a little similar to what I do for work. I have a lot of the tools. So I've kind of just been picking it up for funsies. Modding Super Nintendos for friends, modding my own equipment, stuff like that. We've done a couple of repair streams. I think this is the 3rd or 4th. First time we did a Yellow Light of Death PS3. Trying to remember what we did last time. Oh, we did a PS1 Slim, one of the. I mean, I changed 2 of them. I'm pretty sure only one of them was bad, but the capacitors had gone bad on those, so we swapped those out. We weren't getting video, and we did. I don't know if it's enough exposed copper there, but we should be able to make it work. Yeah, I initially got into animatronics, and that was what I really liked. But then I eventually realized that there's less of the actual hands-on stuff when it comes to like engineering animatronics than there is just like maintenancing, servicing, and technician style of stuff. Also, a lot less school required. So that was a you know, a plus. All right, we can get solder to stick. It's plenty fine. Glob it up right there. Oh, there it is. Now, remember that the top is positive this way. Now, on the bottom, so it's positive, negative, negative, positive. So you have to make sure that you don't continue to put them in the same, you know, facing the same direction. This is why I prefer to do this bottom side first. It's usually a lot easier, or a lot more difficult to do second. We can go the cheap way and just add solder to meet it. That's what I'm gonna do. That's the lazy method, but it works. You just gotta be careful that you don't want them super high, super lifted. Once you get it connected, you can press down on it, reapply some heat. Now obviously connectivity is the most important fact, but making sure it's not in a spot where it's going to get messed with when you put the lid back on it is, you know, something that you could be mindful of as well. Looks like this bottom side needs to be just retouched a little bit. Perfect. That does sound fun, designing boards. I've never designed anything. I've worked on a couple of like board design projects for Chuck E. Cheese, which is where I work. We use different relay boards and I/O boards to power our play passes and things like that. And we've had like a bunch of revisions that we've had to test and give our thoughts on and suggestions for improvements and stuff like that. Okay, so I think I want to do one on this side, like one up here, two on the bottom. And the reason for that is that I have a little bit more room to scratch where I'm not damaging vias on this side. Now again, if you got a fiberglass pen, quick work of this. Really, there's a lot of tools better than this thin razor blade that would probably work, but it's what I got. Cool. So now that we've pre-scratched our spots, we can worry about, where's my vape batteries? Should be over here. Oh, let's see. Now that we've pre-scratched our spot, we'll add a little bit of flux, and then we will just add the capacitors the same way we did. Remember, if we put it back together and it doesn't work, it's no reason for alarm. It just means we'll move to these two, do this exact same thing. I generally start with these two. It's usually where the error is. Yeah, me too. Me too. So we'll just have to do it another night or something. But it's not a big deal. I like having projects. Dude, I have a Turbo Express over here that I need to do an LCD mod on. I got a Nomad I have to do a recap and a screen replacement on. So I got some more projects if we wanted to keep doing repair streams. Seems that people have enjoyed them and they've been fun. Hey, my man K-Rob, 69420. Always a pleasure, dude. Have a great rest of your night. Hug the hog for me. Tell her I miss her. Maybe one day she'll not hate me. She fucking hates me, bro. She wants me dead. Again, we're just adding some solder globs here. Some pre-globbing. Again, we're not stressing on the prettiness. If you really wanted to and you had braid, you could clean up the pads, make it all flush, but we're working with what we got and we're doing it this way. And we're gonna have a damn good time doing it. Oh shit, that's a lot of solder. That's okay. Turn this bad boy around right quick. Now because it's anchored down kind of at an angle, I might not be able to. I might have to unanchor it and move it a little bit. Well, no, I should be able to get it to move from here. I don't know why I closed my solder up. Hey, Supper, it's been an absolute pleasure, my man. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Oh wait, you said you're. Oh, I thought you. My bad, dude. I totally read the. I gotta get some sleep, and I was like, oh, he's cutting out. But yeah, now we'll see. We'll see. You know, I actually didn't think about whether or not I have thermal paste. I hope I do. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to use what's in here, which is not excellent. I'm gonna do these two backwards. Now again, make sure you got the polarity correct. You don't want to get it wrong. Otherwise, your caps are probably wasted, and you have to do it all over again. That sucks. Thankfully, these capacitors are way easier to get off than the stupid token ones. Tell Palmer to fuck off. Amazing. Kevin sent me a picture of his hedgehog. So, Mutsky has a pet hedgehog, and he went up to Canada to visit Emma for a period of time. And I live in Dallas, and he lives in Houston, right? So he was like, yo, I'm gonna come up through Dallas. Would you mind holding on to the hog and babysitting for a little while? And I was like, dude, fuck yeah. Of course I will, man. So he brings the hog to my house. Bro, I'm talking about, like, this hog hates me, wants me dead. This hedgehog wanted nothing to do with me. He's like, don't worry, she'll warm up to you. Never, bro. I had her for like a month, maybe even longer. Never once warmed up to me. Hated my guts. Little connection there. Hated my guts, dude. It's crazy. I've never been so... I was like, well, you know, I didn't realize hedgehogs were nocturnal. Like, I didn't know shit until Kevin dropped her off. And then I was like, dude, I'm gonna be like the cool uncle or whatever, you know? And the hedgehog's gonna love coming to my house. So my ass went out and got like a bunch of mealworms and a bunch of shit. I even got like a little playpen stuff. Didn't matter, dude. Didn't care. Wouldn't come out. Wanted to sit in her thing and eat. And I was like, you know, whatever, man. You do you. I'm not trying to make you miserable. But I'd be lying if I said my feelings weren't a little bit hurt. It doesn't help that I have a young daughter who is definitely antagonizing. She was like, get the hog out, get Zelda out, let's play with her. And I'm like, she doesn't play, dude, I don't know. It's not a puppy. It's a literal ball of spikes, dude. I had like these oven mitts that I would use to get her. Kevin's like picking her up with his bare hands. I'm like, hell nah, bro. I had to use oven mitts to pick up this hedgehog all the time. Yeah, hey, Kevin, I saw. She definitely hated me, man. I was like, damn. Pretty sure it's Charlie's fault. She pooped. Anytime that I would let her out to like run around, she would get scared and go hide behind like, I had like a display cabinet. She would go hide behind the bottom rack of the display, which is like on the ground, and poop behind my Super Nintendo. And I was like, whatever, dude, it's all good. It's a Nintendo product, so like, whatever, you know? Fuck! I'm using so much solder right here, it's such a mess. Is it grounded? Hey, we did it. I don't know how, but don't question it. Now we just gotta worry about whether or not I can move it. That's a good picture, dude. She's chilling. Whatever that blue shit is that you keep in her enclosure, she fucks with heavy. I still was, until the day I moved out of that house, Kevin, I was pulling that blue shit out of my carpet. I was like, hey look, it's like she's still here. She's still with it. I can almost hear her hissing at me. Alright. It's not pretty, but it's gonna get the job done. So we got 3 capacitors. Do a little shaky. 3 capacitors on each one. Obviously not a super cute job by any stretch, but it's not the point. The point is, we're practicing, we're getting better, hanging out, listening to some okay music. Yeah, oh no, it is very easy to see. It is very easy to see and clean up. I just had like, that house I lived at, the carpet was so cheap that it was like impossible to get shit out. Let me take one victory vape and think about where I would have put my thermal paste. It might be in this box. This is the box I was mentioning where I keep all my tools. Here's my fluke. Got a little butane soldering set. It sucks, but it is what it is. Damn, I hope that thermal paste is in here. Oh yeah, there it is. And the lid is still on it. Nice. I got bits, capacitors, resistors, all kinds of bullshit in that little box. I really need to get like a, maybe like a, I don't know, a traveling tackle box or something. But now that we have that, we can close it up. Now that we know. Ah, damn it. It was on there so well. So how do we want to start? Well, that's not pretty good. No, it's not. I don't know how I want to do this. I guess we'll put the board back first. Makes the most sense. If you have tape, you know, like, what is it called, captain's tape or whatever? You can definitely, it's not going in all the way. I wonder why. Oh, so put it on fucking backwards. Whoops! There we go. Should snap right into place. Yeah, if you have tape, you can put it over these just so that you're not having to worry about any shorts sneaking through. I'm not super worried about it. Now here again, remember I mentioned earlier that this little connector likes to come disconnected. Very easy. You just pop right back on there, and that controls the internal clock. This battery does. Oh, one of my pens is bent. Shame. a little bit. Sometimes these old Molexes, these old connectors, they come apart. See if we can get that bad boy to pop right back in there now. There we go. Nice. Captain tape, yeah. Yeah, that stuff goes hard. It goes hard. It's obviously useful for a lot of things, but if you want to put it over that just to keep yourself safe, something you can do. Generally, you won't have as much issue when you put them in this kind of up and down. You usually have a little bit more issue when you put them, when you have them tilted, which is one of the few reasons that I enjoy doing it this way. On top of it being quite a bit easier, in my opinion. What do we want to do next? I guess we can do these two. Thermal paste. I kind of want to have everything together. That way when I thermal paste it and sit it down, I'm good to go. But we need the bottom of it. We still have thermal paste on here I need to clean off. Cool. No problem. So yeah, what we'll do is we will have we'll have it go like, oops, I'm a dumbass. We'll have it go like this, right? Now what you want to do is obviously have the thermal paste on there, lay it down, sit it down, and then drop it into the case and not have any issues. So what we're going to do preemptively is put the fan back on here, on this housing, put the screws back on here. And that just gives us a little bit more, there's less stuff to do while we're worried about the thermal paste getting moved. And I mean, it's thermal paste, right? At the end of the day, it's like, it's not going to kill anybody. But why not make it a little easier on yourself if you can? There's the fan over here. Now the fan will only go in one way, so you can play around with it if you're like, oh no, pop in just like that. Make sure you connect it. If you don't connect the fan, you're going to be in for a bad time. Because the system actually won't turn on. It won't let itself fully boot. As far as I'm aware. I don't think I've ever forgotten. I think that that's how it works though. Certain models, not this revision, the Model A didn't have it, but they have the ability to turn, I don't know if you guys have ever done one on a PS3, it's a fan test. So you like hold in the eject for a certain period of time, and then you hold in like power or something. There's like a method, and you'll hear like the fan turn on like crazy. And it's a good way to like get any dust that's lodged or whatever kind of loose. It basically puts the fan into overclock. And also a good way just to make sure that your fan's still working. If you think that your fan sounds quiet or louder than normal. Unfortunately, I don't think the Model A, B, or C can do it. I think it's revisions that are later than those. So basically none with real hardware. Only the emulation style ones. Let me, oh. Let the music get tanked for a minute there. Cool. Let's get going. Yeah, so what I'm such a dumbass. You don't want to do the connector until you've already done the thermal paste, for obvious reasons. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Now, I'm not, there's a whole lot of people that swear that like there is a correct way to do thermal paste. I'm not a Nazi about it, man. I mean, you do it how you like it. Generally, though, I'll just do like a glob and like an X. I'm running out, so I want to make sure I have enough. Shit. Oh no, we're out of thermal paste. What's a steel, son? Maybe I shouldn't have wiped all of it off. It's okay. We'll make it work. Because it's been a minute since I've purchased some. Generally, I like to do the X. Today we're gonna do it a little bit more spread out. Some people prefer to coat it themselves. I watched a video once that showed like the different ways of putting on thermal paste. And based on that video, I started doing it in the X fashion. No, that's about all we're gonna get out of there. It is what it is. Is that gonna be enough? For now. I'll have to go back. I'll have to redo it once I buy some more. But it's okay, it's my console. Or at least I bought it for me. I'm keeping it, so it's not a big deal. So we need to make sure that it goes exactly how it should. There's a couple of holes right here that you'll tuck them into. Pop right into place. And once it's down, you want to leave it down. You don't want to have to mess with it anymore. You can look in here, make sure it's all flush. Good to go. That's looking cute. That's looking cute enough. Now what we can do is actually throw the relay back on here. It's kind of getting difficult to keep it all on my desk and still do it efficiently. Right here you can see all of that dust. But these will snap on, and you'll see how there's like some snaps that will go on when the top tray is on there. And then it'll snap onto the bottom here as well. You have these little grooves right there, right there, right there. It's really easy to identify what goes where because they have like these little things that they just slide in. Oops, I missed one. So it should slide into these little holes. Looks like we missed one here. Close flat, nice and easy. You can see that we're not getting a whole lot of pushback on where our new capacitors are, so that's good. And you just pop this bad boy on there. These things are usually not super problematic. They go on pretty easy. If no. I'm gonna have to sit down. I kind of like having to hang off the desk a little bit here. That way we can snap it right back in. And once you are comfortable about it popping on, make sure that this piece right here pops into place, otherwise it'll slide out. You just drop it right back into your system. Now it might take a couple tries, to get good at it, like getting it to pop back in. It is a huge pain in the butt, but I've done it a couple times, so I get used to it. Don't get discouraged if it gets stuck, because that's something that happens a lot. All right, and now we're The Verge. The Verge did what? What did they do? You're talking about for thermal paste? Let's put our screws back in for our heatsink element. Now you'll make sure these screws are nice and tight, because they are what connects you to your heatsink. And they're... Whoa! Did you see that? That's what I get. Wasn't even thinking about it. So that spring element that you just saw right there, that's kind of the point, right? They create a lot of pressure, and they this metal piece almost works as a spring. It compresses it and braces the metal together so that it's nice and compact and really well held together, and the connection is sound. Hey, Horza, always a pleasure, my man. Hopefully you have a great rest of your night, dude. Thanks for hanging out, man. But yeah, so I like to screw one side in a little bit, then screw in the other side a little bit, and that just keeps you from getting sprung up like you just saw. Sometimes you'll feel the console try to lift up, give you a little bit of resistance. That's good. Don't think you're breaking anything. It's supposed to push down hard. That's why some people will even put washers underneath here, or a like a washer on the underside to create just even more tight of a gap. You know, I don't do that. I don't think it's super necessary, but hey, if you're a stickler for heat and issues and all that stuff, then by all means do what you want to do. We'll do, I guess we'll do the power supply next. Power supply is pretty easy. You see these two holes right here? They go right there. So if you're lost and you don't remember exactly how the orientation is supposed to be, that's a good way to remember it. Very simple, just pops right back on there. And the one thing I like to do back here, where this ground is I have it pop up, and I slide this ground underneath this little black tab. And if you you can even snake it underneath here, right? Let's see if I can get it. And that's what I did on the last one. And this creates, I mean, it's not super useful, but it's not going to give you any added bonuses or anything like that, but you can snake this under here just to make sure that this element stays up here as opposed to like sliding around. Sometimes it does. Yeah, there you go. So you got it to come out from underneath there. You'll connect this ground right up in here. Whoop. Nice. Am I having an aneurysm? I totally am. So you want to do the ground first. You have to go to your cup of screws over here. The one, the ground for the power supply, super easy. It's this one with the big fat washers on it. A little solo cup has done its job. Pull this bad boy back out from under here. Alrighty. Just kind of brute force that bad boy in there. Oh, ooh, I see what's giving me issues. Yeah, we'll screw it in first. My dumbass. Oh, bummer. I dropped the whole screw. That's okay. It's carpeted in here, much to my girlfriend's chagrin. Pop that bad boy on. Now you do have to put a screw in underneath here, which is why I generally like to have it go underneath this rail. But I'm gonna show you what happens either way. So you have this blockage right here. So what you can do is slide underneath it, but remember that you have to still have these connectors up here go up inside this. So that's why I was just trying, when I showed you earlier what it looks like from going on the underside, there wasn't a whole lot of explanation as to what benefits that brings, so I just wanted to make sure everybody gets to witness it. Cool. There we go. Sorry, the camera is a little bit of my... There we go. Neato. Now, it's in the way of nothing. Good old stuff. Now we're gonna put some of these, we're gonna put this one screw in here so that we don't have to come back to the side. One good thing I learned from Voltar, well, I learned a lot of good things from his videos, he's awesome. But if you're trying to put screws in, oh oops, this is a little baby screw. If you're trying to put screws in, what you can do is actually go the opposite direction. Turn left, essentially. And once you hear it click, that's how you know that you've met like the line where the threads are. And by doing so, it usually makes screwing in the screws way, way easier. What did I do with my magnet? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Sad solo cup feels. Am I using the wrong screws? I should fucking am, dude. Whatever. We're gonna wait to plug that in. Up here, we pop our little Molex in. Good to go. Screws that go here. Real nice. Nice and easy. This is one of the more annoying parts, just because I'm using a magnetic screwdriver. It'll sometimes pull it out of the threads. Now you know whether or not you're using the wrong screws, because these are actually going straight through, right? So it's the bottom of the screw is ending up on the underside here. So if you're using a screw that's too large, it'll obviously make contact with that underside. That's no bueno. The next thing that'll go on here is going to be our Wi-Fi board. Looks like this. It's got the funky looking piece. Now remember, this little ribbon cable needs to go into this housing. And there is a tab deep in here, right here, this little black tab here. You need to flip it up. It should still be up from when you took the ribbon wire out. But very easily slides right back in there. It's a very sturdy ribbon cable as well, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, I'm gonna shred it. And look at that. Really is as easy as it looks. There you go. This bad boy sits right on top like this. Right there. Let me get all the screws sorted out. Again, I cannot stress enough, if you have an ice cube tray that you're not using, it makes for a really, really nice way to to hold your, a really, really nice way to hold your screws and keep them separate based on size. I need to get another ice cube tray. I've been using cups and just putting all of them in there. Saves you the headache of having to guess when you're putting things back together. Now on top of this Wi-Fi board is going to be two things. Keep this VOD for me? Yeah, absolutely, Desiro, absolutely, man. I can even highlight it if you'd like, just to be safe. So there's actually a couple of things that go on here. The first is going to be the Bluetooth antenna, or in this order. It's going to be your Bluetooth antenna, because that pops on right here. And then actually that connection is underneath the Wi-Fi board. So we're going to do our Bluetooth antenna first. Very easy. Very easy. You pop it on right here. The connector is one of these little circular ones, right? I actually don't know what they're called. You'll have to excuse me. But they're pretty common for like small circuitry, for Wi-Fi connections and Bluetooth connections and stuff like that. But you really just push it down, you'll hear it pop into place, and that's that. Now I like to keep the tape that's right here. It'll be on the side of this power supply usually. If you have the revision with the square power supply holes, it's still a Model A. It's just a different power supply. The tape will usually, I think it's taped down here or something. I can't remember, but regardless, you get the point. We'll go ahead and tape that bad boy down back there. He uses a big boy screw. Can't remember. No, he doesn't. Cool. There we go. Oh, sorry. My camera is not super secure right now because, like I said earlier, I don't have my zip ties, and that's usually how I secure this ghetto rig I got going on. Okie dokie. So we should have the next thing that would be up is going to be your, I'm sorry, not your Wi-Fi board, your card reader. So that is going to pop right in over here into this little Molex. I still got the tape on it. Again, you got a little brown tab down here that you will pop up. Now remember I said at the very beginning, this is a this board is sometimes, whether or not, depending on whether or not you took these two screws out, this board can still be attached to the hood of the system. So just be mindful of that. That if you're like, oh, I don't know where the ribbon cable is, or the ribbon cable's there, where does it get? Sometimes you take it off in reverse. I always take it off this way. It's a lot easier for me to remember when I'm putting it back. Thought I was missing one. I'm not. Thank goodness. What we should have done is anchored these over here first, but I'm not going to anchor the board down simply because I'm just testing it. And if it works, cool. I'll tear it apart and re-anchor these screws in the spaces that I missed. But I don't want to do too much if I gotta then take it back apart again, because like I said, this might not be the fix. We still have to worry about you know, the other capacitors potentially, so we'll find out. Another ribbon cable. This one actually just slides in and out. No little lip or anything. You just press it right back in. We'll let it stay like that for now. Now this ribbon cable is quite a large one. It's a large boy. And it just slides. Again, there's a little tab you can open and close back here. You lift it up, you slide the blue the blue end in, close it, give it a little tug. If it's moving, it's not in all the way. That one doesn't go in super far. It's very easy. Don't let it scare you. And then you just gotta connect this Molex here. Boom, good to go. So everything should be connected. Oh, not the power supply. And let us test. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn it on and see if it works. And if it does, neat, we did it. And we can take it back apart just to anchor the board down. And then we can be like done. But there's no point in doing all that extra work if we're not exactly where we need to be. So what we're gonna do here is turn it on, make sure everything's connected. We got our light. So remember at the very beginning what happened was it would turn on, we'd hit the button, it would power up, you could hear it, and then it would immediately shut itself off, show a yellow light really quickly, and then go back to red. So we'll see if it does the same. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. GG boys, we did it. That's another successful Model A restored with $8 in capacitor parts. And obviously some work, but I bought one Model A that we restored for $10 for the same reason. I bought another Model A for $25, this one, and I have another Model A that's in my closet that I got for, I want to say $50. And that's all three of them now. We've done it, and it's just been those two capacitors. So 6 tantalum replacements. Now, it is worth mentioning that you can let it go for a little while and let it heat up. Because sometimes once heat starts happening, you'll know if there's an issue, whether it be thermal paste or the capacitors just aren't hanging. So what I like to do is boot up a game like Destiny. I mean, not Destiny. Well, what was that game? It's the third iteration. Fuck, I can't remember. Well, Ni no Kuni, anything that's like, you know, visually, anything late in the life cycle that's a little bit visual, that, you know, makes the thing heat up, gets its GPU and CPU really going. Hey, Subber Slash, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. Thank you so much for hanging out. Really appreciate you stopping by. So we're gonna turn this bad boy off for now. We're going to FF14, yeah. We're gonna take it back apart. I know that sucks, but we're just gonna make sure that we screw everything. It goes out when it heats up. Yeah, that's not uncommon. Sometimes though, that's not actually related to the capacitors as much. The yellow light of death is almost always, I would say 90% of the time, those capacitors. If it's heating up after a while and then going out, it could still be capacitors, but more often than not, it's just not dissipating heat very well, or dissipating heat very well. I would consider just re-thermal pasting. I would start there before you go into what we did today, which is replaced some caps. Just because it's easier, you know, it's less work. So if that's a good enough solution, then by all means. So yeah, now I have more Model A's than I know what to do with now. I have like 4, I think, fat PS3s, which is all funny, right? But my girlfriend is starting to lose her fucking mind. She's like, you bought these things to fix and resell, but if you don't resell them, then what's the point? And I'm like, I don't know, it's fun. It makes me happy. But yeah, the thermal paste that Sony used when they did these PS3s was terrible. It's very cheap, dries out super fast. It's white too, so you'll know whether or not, like this console, somebody obviously tried to paste to fix, and when it didn't work, they decided to sell it, which was obviously much to my benefit. We actually just need to take the power supply out to access the screws that we're after, so not a big deal. And so there was a brown or like a grayish paste on there, similar to the one I use. I bet it was Corsair paste. But anyways, you'll notice when you take it apart, dude, that white Sony thermal paste crumbles. It's so dry and cracky. It's really, really bad. So we actually don't even need to unplug it. We're just gonna slide it back here. And then we're going to get some of these bigger screws. We go in these places. Now remember what I said earlier about the odd size screws. The little babies go in these spots right here. I believe there's 2 little babies, so I'm gonna do those first. There's one, and the other goes back here. You'll notice that there's actual arrows pointing to the screws that are abnormal size. So, well, I guess yeah, 1, 2, 3, yep. So any of the screws that don't have arrows pointing to them, those are actually going to be connected by these long rails that that hold the actual lid down. So a lot of the side ones are like this one right here. Yeah. So like right here and right here and right here and right there, those are all like side rails that'll come down from the top. They look like this. So what we're gonna do is just put these ones in anywhere we see arrows. Now if you're noticing that it's not working, there is one oddly, maybe there's one, there might be 2 actually, odd size screws, these little guys. So here are your top ones. They're about, I don't know, what would you consider that, 1.5 inches, 2 inches? And then these ones are about 1 inch. These go in, where is it back here? Yeah. In these 2 spots. They hold this relay board down, so they have to go a little bit further down. You'll notice too when you try to put a small screw in there and it won't go in, that you're like, huh, what the heck's going on? And then you'll remember, oh shit, this is where those unique screws go. But then the rest of them are normal. And that's just to anchor that relay. Alrighty, so we can actually, it'll come from the top. Now one thing that's worth mentioning, and I always have this issue, is when I'm putting my CD drive in, it should fit into place perfectly with, it should like almost lay itself down, right? And that's good and normal, and you want to leave the CD, don't try to move it around or fit it anywhere, because once the lid goes on, there's actually, let me see if I can, so once the lid goes on, oh, you know what, this one doesn't have it, wow. Oh yeah, it does, right here. So once the lid goes back on the top, you're gonna have one screw that comes through the top and lands right in here. As you see, right, and it just holds the CD drive in place. Now if you can't get the screw back in on the top, do not fret, happens to me all the time. You really don't need it. The only thing it does is it holds this in place, so if it shakes, it's not gonna move a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of space for it to move to begin with, but you know, just be mindful of that. If you're struggling with one screw on the top, it's always gonna be that one, and it's very particular. But now we're gonna put our what the heck? Am I stuck somewhere? No, should be good. Let me know if the music's too loud. I'm gonna turn it down. Ah, bummers. That's why it helps to have one of these magnet tools anytime you drop something. Whoop. Really neat. One of my favorite investments ever. This extendable magnet. Now, whenever we're working on like animatronics at work, we use a non-magnetic one. It's got like it's almost like one of those dinosaur claws. It's got like hooks at the end that you like pick stuff up with. And boy, do I love using that thing. It'll actually hurt too if you try to like grab your skin with it. Don't ask me how I know. But yeah, I'm actually gonna put this back together. and I'll plug it into the capture card, and we'll see if it works. You know, obviously we got the lights and everything, but it's always nice to look at the Sony screen at the beginning and be like, yeah, it's a whole ass PlayStation that we just fixed. Put our screws in. All that's good. Have to move it. Where is my data? Oh, here it is. Oops, goober. Alrighty. We'll put the CD drive on now. Oh, you know what? No, I want to do that. I'm going to do all these. Silly me. Oh, you know what? And I forgot the ones in the back here as well. Dork alert. Thank you for the GGs, everybody, man. I appreciate it. It's always a little nerve-wracking at first when I'm like, oh no, it's not going to work. But when it does, you're like, how about that, dude? I just did something. It's a nice feeling. And I know a lot of people said that they ended up throwing their PS3s away, or that Sony ended up, like, sending them a new one or whatever, back in the day, obviously. So I wonder how many yellow light of deaths with a simple capacitor replacement could have been fixed. How many of those consoles could still be out there? There's a lot of them. I mean, the reason that we laugh about the oven thing is because I've purchased a lot to fix and had to ask, have you ever put this in the oven? Because it was such a popular console, man. It had so many different... I still try to pick up any PS3 I find. Just because I love I have 3 of the Super Slims, 2 of the regular Slims, 4 of these. Obviously I have like 8 or 9 PS2s, but I just picked them up as like little projects, and then I just ended up keeping them. Got one more screw. Where did I miss it? Do not know. Oh, I see. I see where I missed it. Oh yeah, I know, dude. I know. You're so right. Hey, if you got your you got your thing? I shipped it back out. Sorry it took so long, man. I was backed up on shit without a whole lot of motivation. And it was at work. So your issue was drift, right? So I didn't notice any when I was testing it, but I was like, well, I mean, we'll clean it out, fix it up, just to be sure. I didn't really give it a thorough test beforehand, so that's my own fault. Did I miss a screw somewhere? And I have one extra. So whenever you're missing one, look for the arrows, right? Because they'll tell on you. Doesn't look like it, which means that I missed one. Probably on the underside. That's okay. We got an extra screw. Thingy back yet? Cool. Hopefully it comes in shortly. I know that shipping's been kind of whack with COVID and stuff, so. Hi. Change anything with it? What do you mean? I didn't change it. I took it apart and deep cleaned it. It had a bunch of gunky inside of it. Cleaned it out. Basically disassembled that whole analog element. But man, I was actually, that Pro Controller, I was really blown away with how simplistic the shell is and how well put together it is. It was actually really neat, dude. I was really impressed with it. You know, it's the first Pro Controller I've ever done anything on. Usually I fix Joy-Con drift a lot. They're really bad about it. This is a sturdy little piece of equipment, dude. But yeah, I didn't have to soft mod it or anything. I was able to clean it, blow it out, disassemble and re-lubricate it, and it was good to go. Did I miss something? Did I put that in? Yeah. Yeah, dude, I have one that I use for my computer stuff. Like, I use a Pro Controller for... It's not really a Pro Controller. It's a... it's like a Hori... It's the one with, like, that gyroscopic D-pad or whatever, but, I really like the size, the layout, and all that stuff of those Pro Controllers, those styles. Alright, I guess we can put the shell back on the top. Now, it kind of, like, goes... Oh, not a good sound. There we go. Should lay down pretty nice and easy. Oh, I didn't forget one.
2,
Yes, I did. I used one in the wrong spot, but that's alright.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1,
Oops.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, funk.
What did I just do with that screw? Oh well, we don't need it. Right here. Right here. Uh-oh, getting some resistance. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's my own fault. Jailbroke your PS3, really? I have a lot of people that ask to jailbreak, I guess their Xboxes. They want me to install like custom firmware on the HDD or something. I've never did, and I always tell people no, because like I got enough stuff to work on already. But it seems like a pretty, you know, that soft modding or jailbreaking or whatever you want to call it. It seems like it's a pretty popular ordeal these days. Nah, you don't worry about TOS. You're good, man. You're good. We're just here having a good time. We're not a super strict environment in this channel.